Nice trips and takes there.
Nice what?
Nice.
Nice what? I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Nice what now?
Nice trip.
Nice.
Nice tips.
Again.
Nice tips
I
and
mean, you know what to do. Buy me chassis.
nice tips
Wonderful.
and trips.
Actually,
Very.
Sup,
Hi.
people. Kill Shelley, kill happen.
Welcome,
How y'all
everyone.
doing today? What's happening? Hope you're doing good.
I'm doing
Share everybody wow okay. I mean, share everybody shout wow okay because I want to say everybody leave my wow okay. Nigeria is kicking everybody's ass right about now.
Yep.
But hope you're all doing very well. Everyone is hanging in there. As usual, welcome to the Shrine Podcast, the show where we talk about music, pop culture.
Did you forget what you talked about?
I swallowed.
Okay,
Jesus.
sorry. Just checking now.
But
that pause was too much. Sorry.
Anyways, welcome to the Shrine Podcast. As you can tell, you know, we need to bad for here, but this is the show where we talk about.
For yourself.
Oh, bad leave that one. Oh, bad This is the show where we can I just do this damn intro?
Oh, sorry,
fucking hell.
do.
Anyways, this is the show where we talk about music, pop culture, lifestyle, and technology from our lens as young Nigerians by way of Canada in Jesus' name. Can I get an amen?
But still living in Nigeria. Amen.
Wonderful. I know you guys have missed us. It's been a minute. But the good thing is this is episode 30.
Yeah.
30 episodes in the bag. Can you imagine that? Oh my God. So yes, you guys send us your love. Shout out to all the guests we've had.
Thank you,
everyone has helped us make this podcast, this show a reality. Even though we're not as consistent as we like to be for you all, but people too know us.
But we did try. We
try.
And
made it to 30 episodes against all the odds. So shout outs to Jemima as well, and shout outs to me. And that is how we have told you who is talking. Okay, I am your host, Akindare, and on the show today is my co-host
Jemima.
Yes, so we are together. We are doing it.
We are
But
doing it.
this episode 30, we say we cannot just come to you people like that, like just us, just not come and give you guys like better thing, right? So we have a very, very special guest joining us on the show today as well.
Very important one.
Very important. Important one. Yes, super important. VIP.
Yes.
Sure you get. We have the wonderful, the amazing Adebola joining us on the show today. Adebola is an HR professional. Just to give you a hint into where we are going, right?
Hello, guys.
Adebola, say hi to the people. Say hi.
Hi guys, how you
And
doing?
ladies, everyone.
And ladies.
No, I'm talking to her. She said, "Hi guys." I said,
So these
everyone.
guys.
Okay, come on, generalize.
Gender.
Hi guys and ladies, how you doing today? My name is Adebola.
She's
why
doing
you?
As Akindare said.
She's just talking calmly. My name is Adebola.
Well,
Go come here.
No, when she
don't
starts
mind
talking-
them. I
when she
beg.
starts talking loud.
Well, it's nice to meet you all. I'm excited to be with my favorite people, Akindare and Jemima.
Did you people hear that?
Some Akindare and Jemima in your
Yes,
life.
they're
Okay.
really cool.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank
People have
you.
heard, all right? Automatically, we have cool points. All right, so if you see me outside,
City
move
boys and
accordingly.
girls up.
Right?
Hey! You see, this is what I'm talking about. Thank you very much. Gem Game,
Yeah.
what do we have on the show today?
We're not going to say how was your week now. Before we even get into that, I wanted to ask Debola something. What's the one thing about you that like people generally don't know?
Fun
So I
fact.
wanted to hear it here first.
Fun facts.
Yeah,
Fun fact about me
Exclusive.
that people don't know. I would say that I'm an extreme introvert.
Extreme introvert.
Yes. But most people around me will argue differently. But I am. And that's one thing that people don't know.
Wonderful. So I'll tell you this, on some level, I get that.
Right?
Like, on some
Right.
level, I get that actually. But I'm gonna say, sorry, I have to like consider. Okay, because me, I'm
I'm sure
Debola was out this weekend.
I was.
Extreme introverts stay at home. But
That's
okay,
a
okay,
curated version of myself.
okay. Fair enough. I get that,
Fair
right?
enough. Well,
I get that.
we love you regardless.
You know.
love you guys
Everybody's
too.
welcome. Okay.
All right.
So,
Welcome.
okay. As I have been corrected, Gem Game.
Yeah.
How was your week?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
My week. I'm on leave.
Amazing.
I
So
thought I was done with this phrase. People have not see for like months before she went on leave. Anything, if you ask Jemima, is it morning? I'm going to be on leave.
but
Have you eaten? I'm going on leave. Any small thing, I'm going on leave. I'm going on leave.
No, but
I'm
you
going
don't
on leave.
understand. Like this year, I've not gone on leave, right? And the thing is, the leave days they don't roll over. So we're in September, right? October, November, and December you can't go on leave because we don't close for the year, right? So you have to take it, and it just became like, very important that I took the leave and like took time off work. So it's been interesting. I like the week not having to think about work, even though some people still call me for one or two things. But I've told them that before I left, I told them that if it's not burning, and I mean literal fire.
If the company's
Like
not on
that?
fire.
Yeah, I mean like actual fire.
You're
like
not
if-
looking for fire service. Don't call me.
And we're running out of don't call me. I'm sure somebody can get it done on the team. So, yeah, my week was great in that way. So I was just like at home trying to just get into that no work, mode, because I do like to work. So not having to do work is a little bit weird, but I also like the mental restfulness,
space,
if that makes
the
sense.
mental rest that you're getting.
Yeah, from not having to think about, I have this thing to do. I know when I get back, it's going to be like a lot. My email is going to be crazy, but yeah, being on leave has just been good, just helping me to relax and focus on some more important personal stuff. So yeah, my week was great in that way.
I'm sure the people are happy for you.
Are you not happy for me?
I'm
am
happy
happy
for
for you. I just also
Enemy of progress.
No. I also just want to point out that like most people, the reason why most people say they went on leave is that like they burnt out or they were tired. The work was
I
just
burnt
too
out
much.
now.
That's not what you said. You said it does not roll over. It doesn't roll over.
Okay, but the main point is
But I also like that you added in there that you like work, so that clears everything up for everybody.
but I still like my rest.
So yeah, one thing we know, we get it.
But I still like my rest now. But how was your week?
It's been past 1 month. Anyway,
my
dear.
To translate, eyes have seen, mouth cannot say.
You guys. Anybody, if you see me anywhere, give me a hug, squeeze some money into my hands.
Squeeze some Franklin.
My destiny. Do you understand? I've never been this busy before in the past maybe 2 years. So it's all rough. But on the good side, I get to go to Ghana very soon.
Okay.
You get.
At least you're leaving the shores of
Even though
Nigeria.
it's for work, but
Yeah,
for 2
going
weeks,
outside
so,
Nigeria, Sha.
Why not, right? And then also this week I don't have to go to the office, work from home. So that's also another good thing that I've emanated from these many weeks and months of work. So yeah, that's basically it. I mean, I'm just chugging along. I'm moving through, just
Coasting, eh?
just once I finish this day, I'm just like, okay, on to the
next day. Like, what's his name? I started watching this Arsenal. Oh, is it All or Nothing?
Mikel Arteta.
Arteta, right? He's speaking to his players.
He's like,
if they win, if they lose, he's just like, okay, good, nice
that
one,
has
guys.
gone.
So we have Manchester United to face in 2 days. Okay,
Straight up.
Saka, Laka, let's go. It's so funny. He's like, Laka, it will be paid drawing on the board. I'm like, Laka, what does this mean? You see, this, I want to be happy. Happiness. You guys make me happy. I love him so much. Like I put on my Twitter the other day that this is an Arteta Stan account because
really
it's good. Like, Adebola, how was your week?
So my week was bleh because I was on leave last week, 1 week leave. So you can imagine how that went when I had to resume back to work.
Oh God. Too many things to like.
It was quite rough.
Yeah.
It was quite rough.
Bele.
But then, I pulled through and here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Here we
Tell me
are.
about that your weekend. What did you do?
Well, Jemima, you're putting me on the spot.
What did you, madam, extreme intro.
Well, I was at South, right? But then I left South and I went with some friends to Element House. And I try as much as possible not to miss Element House because I really love it.
Right?
Wow.
I really love it. I love the crowd. I love the music. I love the ambience. It's really nice. So
Honestly.
yes, I was at Element House, and then yesterday, Saturday, I slept all through. And I'm not even sorry. Yes.
See, I'm not sorry.
I'm not sorry.
You know, pass like that. That's like all the soft life. Go out,
outside
rest,
sleep. Like Olushi the next day.
But then
And
my
then charge up for the
weekends,
week.
I always try to balance going out and
rest.
also getting enough rest because when I don't
This life
rest,
now.
I get moody, and nobody likes that.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
That's why I like that.
All right, it's
Fab.
cool.
So, well, everybody's in a good mental space. We're drinking some wine.
Yeah.
So, we're having a good time. It's a rainy Sunday afternoon in Lagos where we're coming to you live from. So, Jemkem, what do we have on the menu?
Oh, so on the menu today, we have Amala, Eba, right?
When I was telling the
God.
people that sure they can see that I'm big bad in this place. We are not too well like that. You were saying I should speak for myself. Sure, people can see now. Case in point.
Oh my God. Okay, well, yeah. So today we're going to be talking about HR woes and like other stories. Obviously, like Adebola introduced herself as, or was it you that introduced her? I think you introduced her as
an HR.
Yeah, I think I would need to let her introduce like a career as a professional or something. Right?
I mean, do you
Is
want
it
to drop
HR
names?
professional? Okay. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about HR roles and other stories, right? Basically, as we have an HR professional in our midst. So we'll start with Adebola, obviously, because she's the expert, right? So, HR in Nigeria, what does it look like for you? How's that like?
First off, let me correct Jemima. I'm not an expert.
Okay.
We're all still, in the process, learning every day.
Oh, specialist,
Let's first
analyst.
use that first. Let's use that. The reason why you're an expert is because out of everybody we did this room right now,
Right.
maybe on this show, now you sabi and pass.
Right.
Right.
And you have
Right. And you have
both
the experience.
perspectives, I think, like from
You have-
HR and an
uh-huh.
employee and
So you've
Right.
done it a minute as well.
Yes, I
don't
have.
know, Shomode now. Come off it.
come on, feet, my dear.
Come on, face, my dear.
Well, okay, so I would just introduce myself briefly. I'm a HR professional and I have been doing this since 2019.
Okay.
That's how many years now?
That's 3 years.
3 years now.
And one thing I would say is that I love my job. I really, really love my job. But then we can all imagine in our heads how the average Nigerian is. And now just imagine that you have
Is
to
our
you have to manage that average Nigerian, in all of that in the workplace where you have to be a certain way. I think that we can all grasp how difficult that can be. And you know how the workplace is. Fine, we have like the full formal workplace, semi-formal, informal, what as the case may be. I work in financial services, so it's a full formal work environment.
Oh, that be down Texas, be
Exactly, where the atmosphere is a bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful for my job, right? The job that I currently work now, which I started in January this year, by the way. Affords, it's when it comes to like the work environment, it's a bit relaxed. It's not like the average financial services. So I get to have a little fun on the job,
Right.
while, carrying out my day-to-day functions. So
Nice.
yes, I would say that that's a brief introduction. Right, we'll get into the
So the following question
So,
is
how does it look? What's it like
HR,
for you?
Your experience, what
Like, what's the good? What's the bad?
what does HR
does-
look like to you? Like, just give us like an overview
Right.
of your experience as an HR professional in Nigeria, both in terms of when you're dealing with people and also like I guess as an employee, because even though you be human resource, you say if you be
You're an
employee.
I'm an employee
Yeah.
as well. Right. So I would say the first thing is that the average person has this misconception about human resources. in the country. Everybody says, oh, human resources is this, is that. When you say you are HR, you're seeing people giving you like side eye and whatnot, right? But for me, with the kind of person that I am, I say that when people get to know me just a little bit, they see that I'm not the average Nigerian HR, and it's even on my Twitter bio. Not the typical Nigerian HR, right?
What is
because
the typical Nigerian HR?
So the typical Nigerian HR is closed-minded, archaic. There's this rigidity to them, right? And I believe that we're constantly evolving, right? The workspace is evolving. Humans are evolving. What we used to see as the standard before, it's not what is the standard now. People now prioritize the mental health, over the job. So as a HR professional, you have to be fluid in that regard. You cannot say because this is what you think.
But what you see is the average HR professionals like just sticking to the script. You need to allow for some fluidity when it comes to the job. And people are also dynamic. Right. So you need to be able to study a person and know how to best communicate with them, right? What I'm hearing is like giving them tailored experience
as
it relates to
that is
because
the
HR
word.
is human resources.
Yes.
And like people are like individual.
There's no one size fits all.
Exactly.
Right. There's no one size fits all. So you have to be calm. You need to understand each and every person that you're managing, because as a HR professional, your main job role is to manage the human talent in the organization. So if you don't understand them, how would you properly manage them, right? So you have to understand them and communicate how they want to be communicated with. Do you understand?
It's not about like this is how you should do it. It's more about understanding like how this, because like you just said, your role is to manage the human talent and to basically get the best out of them, to do their job. Like, because at the end of the day, the single goal is everybody wants to, the company wants to make money.
Exactly.
Right? Revenue.
Exactly.
So everybody that works in the company needs to pull their weight. And who's in charge of ensuring that those people pull their weight?
And the most important resource in a workplace is the people, right? You cannot achieve anything substantial without the right people. Yeah, if you have the wrong people driving, or people that are unmotivated or disengaged, it's going to be very hard for you to attain that organizational goal that you're working towards, right? So it's very important that you treat your people right, you understand them. That way you can get the best out of them. That way they will go the extra mile for you and the organization.
I wanted to ask a question. Are there people who, like, so this thing you're saying about humans are like constantly evolving and like, as an HR professional, you should. Is it as an HR or HR? Hey, English. I mean, don't put it there, please. I went to Bangkok. And I studied English. Don't let my father hear that. But I was going to say that like in recent times, you see movers and maybe decision makers in the HR industry, like taking active step to essentially like train HR professionals to understand like how things are dynamic, right? Because they only know that there's a template because that's what they were like essentially, for lack of a better word, born into, or that's what they got into to know. But like, are there other chances for them to know that, okay, this is what's happening, like just to upskill them or like give them more data or, things like that? Is that?
I think that across Nigeria, I think that's a Nigerian thing. Like, it's like, when people are saying like, why are they teaching kids about floppy disk and all these things in secondary school when the world has moved from that, right? Like, it's like there's so many things in just the Nigerian system and just how Nigeria operates that like you would think, oh, someone should have thought like, oh, this is where the world is at now. Like, what is now using this guy? It's like that fantastic Zlatan line, I could you see Netflix.
Oh, she was
DVD. You understand?
See, there was something Adebola mentioned about like the work of HR is to manage human talent, right? Have you ever worked at a place where there's no HR?
Yes. So,
how was that? Because like if you are managing human talent to like get the best out of them, drive growth and all of that, and there is no body manning that.
What usually happens is, in my experience, it's usually the operations person that is a sort of default HR when there's no dedicated HR person.
Yeah.
And the thing about operations people is that they always have to go and hustle for money from the higher ups, right? And that money that they are hustling basically to keep the lights on, make sure that there's fuel, the cleaner, there's paper in the copying machine, those kind of things, right? But so they are not really, their first priority is not necessarily like people or talents. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like structurally, the internet that this company needs to function, the this, the that, like, is it available? Is it ready? Do you understand? So when there's no HR, just forget about all those, like, in my own experience, like all those things like health insurance, pension, forget about all that shit.
Nobody cares.
All those perks and all those.
Wow.
Forget about that. You understand? Most businesses that I've come across that I've seen that at, where they don't have a dedicated HR professionals, even if they are like tech startups, right? There is usually one of those things where the pay is usually whatever you take home, that's it.
Right.
Like, you go and figure out your
deductions.
Someone in charge of like statutory remittances.
Tax, you go and figure out all that shit by yourself. Shit you get. So, and that then trickles down. So first of all, now you can rule out perks, right? Second of all, like I said, like they are not necessarily like thinking about people or like human beings. Do you get? Like even if they do, it's not their first priority. Like it's not what's at
top of mind, because that's not their KPI. Literally,
you get.
Their KPI is different.
And ideally, those kind of situations should never exist. But Nigeria Lawa, and that's how we do things there. Like
I've been in a situation where I worked. It's not like they didn't have HR. Actually, I've been in two situations. There was one that they didn't have HR at all, but they made it seem as if they had like an HR manager. But when I got in, I now realized that the HR manager, so because there are a couple of companies in the building, the HR manager is for another company. So,
wow.
So it's basically like borrowing, because, boss started to do things like just suspend people and say, oh, you came late, don't come to work for 2 weeks. If there is an HR manager, that kind of thing cannot happen. Do you get? And then, people are complaining. I'm like, we have HR now. So I go there and I'm like, the HR manager is like, oh, so what happened is I only just prepared the offer letters and like things like that, put it on their letterhead.
The HR manager, they're on loan.
Yeah, I don't have anything to do with, and obviously it was like evident in that company that there was nobody to manage the human talent, because even apart from the top behaving badly, even the employees are behaving badly.
There's nobody checkmating.
Do you understand?
Anything.
Nothing. Like, so you can just decide to not come to work, or you can decide to say, oh, I have a wedding, somebody died or something like that, like just in the middle of a work week, and not come to the office because there's nobody that is going to like put you in check. So that's my own experience. And the one that they did not have, obviously, I think you can already imagine what that would look like if you don't have any human, like everybody is just reporting to the CEO. That's already a shit show. Like, I don't even need to start saying that's already a shit show. Like, there's nobody so anybody can come and go, really. And in that kind of place, people were like the churn rate was so high. Like, people just come for 2 weeks and they are not, coming to work anymore because the environment is already putting them off. Yeah.
Like, do you know what? Like, because this, as you were talking, I was just thinking like, the workplace in Nigeria is so fucked up. I feel like one day, God help us, we should try and do like, even if it's a live type thing, we should try and do like a sort of round table type thing where we'll have different people come and talk about like working as a professional in Nigeria. Like, this place is
I don't think
crazy.
That session will ever end.
Bro,
like, this is crazy. But we've also been talking about this HR thing a lot from like the employees, right? But like, I want to get a sense of what it looks like to you on the other side.
As somebody managing talent.
You that are doing the interviews or like you're going through the applications or like you're sorting out the issues that somebody has with something or with somebody else, and directives from executive and like pushback, all that stuff. Like, let's start with the talent pool, right? This talent that we are so-called managed, because we are saying, oh, the workplace is bad, but like the people that are going into the workplace,
they are equally bad, like? Right?
Because if you're an employee, the way you relate to a colleague on like an employee level, like if you're in the same department or something, is to see if you are the HR person, like you were involved in their hiring,
exactly,
and, like, you know how much they earn, like you have different kind of context into those people, right? So like, what's the talent pool looking like from the HR side?
Right now, I would say that talent is hard to find. And I know that this is an irony because people say that, there
There's
are a
an
lot of
abundance of
unemployed graduates in the market.
Yeah.
But talent is extremely hard to find. Why? We can say that, yes, the education system in Nigeria is in the, in the gutter.
Poto.
We can all agree
In the
that
mud.
it is. But then I always use myself as an example. I don't say this to sound like I know it all or I'm the best. When I was at home for like 8 months after NYSC, post NYSC, before landing my first job. And in those 8 months, I, basically just tried to see how I can improve my CV, develop myself, my speaking skills, interview skills, all of that. When they say there's nothing like luck, maybe opportunity means prepared.
You have to put the work.
Preparedness.
Yes, you have to put in the work.
Yeah.
So when my first interview was my first job.
Wow, mad.
Come on.
ọmọ bánkẹ́. 411.
Come on.
My first
So
interview.
lucky.
Yeah, it was my
Very
first job. I
lucky.
went
I
for
love
the
it.
interview in the morning. In the afternoon, the creative. So I worked for like an e-commerce fashion brand. It was not so much at the time, but I
Of
was
course.
really happy. And I got a call back in the afternoon asking, details of when I can resume and all of that. So I would say that I prepared myself for that job. But now it's so hard because I feel like the average graduate should know some things they're not taught, right? They're implied. Everyone just assumes that you should know.
Yeah.
Like when you're sending out your CV, you just don't attach your CV to the email. You introduce yourself.
Right.
You tell us about your skills, even when you don't have work experiences, right? And then, ensure that your CV is in the appropriate format. And, you use the right salutation and all of that. And then you close the email right. And then you send. Right now, when you put out job adverts, when people are sending their CV, first off, as a young professional, you're still using emails like Mandy, Kiss for Real,
Mandy 224.
224, Angel
Kiss
Princess,
me,
Barbie,
134 at yahoo.com.
at yahoo.com.
You're not ready.
You're not ready because you cannot be applying to one of the big fours and someone sees Kiss Princess for Real at yahoo.com and then you expect that
I'm
they
sorry, I want to
take you
say one.
seriously.
I want to quickly say one story
Please,
so I won't
go ahead.
forget. Recently, my friend was telling me about somebody that came for interview and they were asking him, why do you want to leave your current company? This person said, no, I'm not leaving my current company. I want to take both jobs right
my
there
God.
in an interview. No
my
jokes.
God.
Like this thing is like legit. She opened her mouth. She was like, what do you mean? You want to take? Yeah, and that's he's currently working at this former place and he wants to take this, so he will be doing both, so he can earn both salary. You were saying that in an interview.
Oh my God.
You see, those are the issues. It's because
Those
you just
are the
mentioned
issues.
he's gone.
That's a brave bro. Man.
Like this
he's
Gen Z,
got
they don't go
his
keep
chest.
it.
His chest is
But
big.
we'll come to the
Obviously,
Gen
he didn't get
Z
the
matter
job.
later. I
'Cause
have
don't nobody
I
go
have
to
a
give you a
different
job like that.
opinion about Gen Zs, but we'll come to that later. So just moving on with what I was saying. Then you go through all that. You put out the job adverts. People sending their CVs. You shortlist that, whatnot. You invite them for interviews. That's another problem because if before I schedule people for interviews, I call them to ask when they can be available because that's the right thing to do. Yes. And then you give me a date and a time that you can be available. I go ahead and schedule you for an interview and then you don't show up or you don't tell me why you will not be able to. You won't show up or why you'll be joining late. I'm a very reasonable person. Do you understand? I understand that people have full different lives, outside of, all of this.
Things
Do you get?
happen.
So,
Like-
you can tell me why you won't be attending now or why you want me to reschedule.
Yeah.
And I'll go ahead and do that. But then you don't do that or you come to the interview, you're not answering questions, but you ask someone, please introduce yourself to the panel, if it's a panel or just me. and then they're telling you where they were born, what local government they were born in.
Oh,
why do you think I want to know that you were born in
No
Mushin local
way.
government?
They actually say that.
Yes.
No way.
You're telling me where you went to primary school.
After all the resources online about how to introduce yourself.
Do you
Like, you can
understand?
literally word for word Google what you and like that means you don't want it. You are not making
You're
any
right.
effort.
Because so that is why you mostly see that most recruiters, if they're not like human resources professional generalists, would rather look up people on similar roles that are on LinkedIn
And reach out to them.
Reach out to them instead of going through all of that, long process.
And stressful process.
Long and stressful. And that is why you mostly see that most of the roles available now, people say that most of the roles available now are not advertised. I'll reach out to my circle. Look, I'm looking for a sales officer for an asset management company.
Yep.
If you have CVs that you can send to me.
refer.
And they will send CVs, or I would tell people, or I'll put it on my Twitter even. I would, rather do that than post the job, go through all that sorting, and then at the end of the day, not find the right fit, and then start the process all over again.
Do you think that, would you say the percentage of wrong fits that you find outweighs the right fits, like in recent times, like since you started?
So since I started, if we're taking into view 100%, I'll say that we call them unidentified recruitment errors would take up less than 20, because I know how important it is to find the right fit, because the attrition rate is measured against me. In a proper organization, when there's setting KPIs for human resources, there are key deliverables,
right?
And that is also to keep attrition rates in check. Because if you're constantly recruiting and people are leaving, you're wasting resources, time, energy, money. Most times when someone leaves, if you're going to find the replacement for that job, it's more expensive. You will pay higher, right? So it's better to keep talent within the organization as much as possible. So I take my time trying to find the right fit.
So what I'm hearing now from the talent pool is, on one hand, there is education in the sense that not even like what they are teaching in class and curriculum now, just in the sense of like, now that you're done with university
what are you doing?
NYSC or whatever, like how do you approach a formal working environment, right? Because obviously that's the next
because
step,
they don't teach you that in uni.
right?
They don't.
So that education is missing, but also there's also the self-education, right? It's like, so now you're done, Nigeria is hard, there's no jobs or whatever, like what are you doing to set yourself up so that like when that job does become available or that opportunity comes up, you are able to pounce on it. And then there's also even just all those other things like email etiquette and like interviews and like why will you
That's what you don't want to do the job, like, because
how would they ask you when will you be available? It's you by yourself that look at your life and chose this time, and then you cannot now make it, and then you can't communicate why. So it's even things like that. So like maybe that's a whole other episode as far as like how do you even solve for those kind of problems? Because this is multi. I can see why, because this, when you said finding talent is hard, like I didn't even have any doubts in my mind, because I've been seeing it, all kinds of founders in different industries on LinkedIn, on Twitter, everybody's complaining about hiring is a bitch. The times that I've been involved in hiring myself, oh my God. I'm like, this is what
you go.
So I hate when I hear that somebody is leaving at my organization. I'm like,
you're stressed.
You're already
stressed. If I work
stressed.
closely with the person, like, I'm like, oh God, this search now, it's another whole thing. You wanted to say something?
So just piggybacking off what you said about approaching, the job market when you graduate from the university. I need young people to understand that you're competing against a whole lot of people on the job market. You're competing against someone that went abroad to study, that went abroad to study, that had access to all of these facilities and resources. You're competing against someone that if you went to like a government school, you're competing against someone that went to private university, right? They had they also had access to more, resources than you had.
Even people that are like intelligent, more intelligent.
Do you understand? You're competing against all of these people, and you think that just getting
bare
that
minimum.
You think that the bare minimum will suffice. It won't.
To email and just say.
You have to raise yourself up to that level. Yeah. Some will even say PFA. You just see email, no subject.
Please find that. I give
and then you just see CV like that. No, nothing.
I'm sure that kind of person that they can't be thinking that they will get the job. Like, can they be serious?
Yes, they're serious. You don't know Nigerian. But I just wanted to say,
my God.
I'm just trying to put myself in Adebola's shoes. Like, one morning, she just wakes up, she gets to the office. Then they're doing a recruitment drive. She opens her email. She says Kissy for real 2004 at yahoo.com. And she doesn't even say anything. She just sees a CV. Like, you'll be so stressed. Like, it's really.
But what if you open the CV and it's actually good?
Yes, I've had instances where the person just sent. You have to give people benefit of doubt.
Yeah.
If I open your CV and I can, if I've scanned it and I see that you might be the right fit for the job, I'll go ahead and give you a call, and try to schedule an interview.
But it's just giving you more.
That's because you are, should I say, that good or that open-minded at your job? Because
exactly.
There's just like you said earlier.
What we said earlier.
Yeah, just like you said earlier. Like, there's so many people applying, right? Like,
why should I care about you that you're just sending me attachments?
You get people even put disclaimers in their job posts, like when they're advertising jobs, and be like, please make sure you do this headline, send to this.
They will even say subject.
You get
application for,
You get, they will say, because we get lots of entries and we can't go through everything. Some people put it in their the job application that we can't go through every single one. Sure, you get. So I guess the larger point is make it easier for yourself.
Exactly.
At the very least, right?
At the very least.
Like, because not everybody will be like Adebola and still open.
Some will just
I will
email immediately and just move on.
Because you can't be talking to me, like, because it can't be me that you're just sending that.
Like, I have a life, okay? I have shit to do.
I have so many emails.
Let me tell you why I do that. Let me tell you why I do that, right? But takes me back to my unemployed days, because at the time, for 8 months, all I was just wishing was for someone to give me a chance.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So it's very, hectic to have to go through every CV that you get. But I do that because I have that knowledge that at some point in my life, I was this person, right? And I would have loved a little bit of grace,
You pay me your money.
Do you get
paying it forward?
Exactly. So that's why
that's dope. That's dope. Well
I like that.
Well, you see, we people, we only bring dope people on the show.
Dewa wanted to say something about Gen Z. What's your opinion about Gen Z?
So my opinion about Gen Zs is that...
Wait, sorry, have you interviewed Gen Zs like in recent time?
Oh, yes. And I happen to work with a whole lot of
them, Abby.
Shout out to the Gen Zs in my company.
I love them, though.
I love them. And let me tell you, so for someone that has done like extensive research on like the age range, their behavioral, aspect, and how, they like to be managed, and how they like to be communicated with, or how they even like to work generally. You find out that Gen X's and, the boomers and the millennials, the Gen Ys, and then the Gen Zs are very, very different people, right? The Gen Zs right now, if you take a millennial or a handful of millennials and a handful of Gen Zs and you ask them the same questions, about the workplace, they'll give you totally different answers or responses. And that's because what Gen Zs value is very different from what we millennials value. In the workplace, they're not even so particular about the money, right? The ones that I work with, they're not so particular about the money. They are more particular about how you speak with them, how you understand that they are individuals outside of work. So that is the mentality that
very
I go
important.
through. I have very good relationships with all the Gen Zs that I work with. Some people find it hard. I don't.
To relate with them, because they are
because
different,
they don't know
different
them.
layers, so they're different levels. They're not willing to understand.
They're not
where
willing to
coming
understand,
from.
or they're just willing to stick to that mentality.
The
that
template.
this is the workplace. You can't do this. You cannot do that. You can't dress this way. You can't dress that way. Just allow them to
do
be.
their thing.
And you will get the best from them. And they're very cool people.
I think
to
with
work
me, I think one of the things that I like about them is that, in the workplace, they are ready to, not take, how do I say, anything that would be detrimental to them.
Yes.
Number one. Number two, they also understand that, at the end of the day, it's about getting the job done. Am I doing the job? Is it getting done?
That's what I tell
Am I not lacking?
line managers when they come to complain. Okay, you're saying that this person is doing this on the job, doing that. Perhaps they come late a few times. All of us understand how Lagos can be. But that's aside. Is this person meeting up with their key deliverables? They say yes.
So what is the problem?
So what exactly is the problem? And then, okay, I would speak with them. Right, I understand that you have to be a certain way, or you have to do certain things while you're on the job, right? So that you don't set a bad precedent or an example for the others.
And the culture, you have to.
And the culture, you have to, keep the culture of the organization. But then there are things that, there was one time that someone reported a Gen Z to me, and when I sat with this person and I spoke, I realized that they had a whole lot of, they had accommodation issues. They paid money to this person, and the person took their money and went away. But they were still getting the job done. It's just that, there were
a few lapses.
There were a few lapses, and just understand the person that you're working with. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
And,
I think he also
I was looking at, I was trying to open my LinkedIn to find the video, because what you were saying earlier about how the boomers and the millennials and they have different, they see the world differently, and that obviously shows up in their work. Because I had seen a video a few weeks ago on LinkedIn where somebody was asking, it was at a conference, someone was asking one of the speakers, how do you retain talent, right? And so he was basically doing a breakdown of the boomers. This was their priority. Security was their priority.
Exactly.
They wanted, to get the house, get the steady paying job.
Not that somebody will come and say,
right?
tomorrow.
You get the millennials, right? The quality of the work that they were doing was more of a priority. Am I doing something that, I care about, etc. Over sort of, do I have a house? Do I have a car?
Right.
And all these things are obviously influenced by culture shifts, as well as just where the world is, right? And Gen Zs, they grew up with the internet. Do you understand? So their own priority is the quality of their life, not necessarily am I making the most money? Am I as long as they enjoy what they're doing and they are getting the fulfillment that they see from it, and they are, that's why work-life balance has never been a bigger topic than right now in the world, right? You see, it's Gen Zs that are doing things actually not Gen Zs, millennials started it hopping from job to job, over a relatively short
time. If this is not serving me, bye.
Our parents will do 15 years. 20. My mother just retired. 28 years.
35 years.
Do you understand? In the same fucking company. Do you get?
Same
job. Now, I don't know.
I'm 8.5, 9 years into my career, and I've already done I don't know, 7 companies. 7 different.
Yes.
Do you get? So, and the Gen Zs now, they don't even waste time. 2 months, they are moving mad, they're out. Start.
The wildest thing about them is they don't even have a millennial will say, okay, do I have another job waiting for me before I resign?
That's what, yes, they'll be I need another job
will
first.
resign and
then
go and
they will not
sit
go
at home.
Yes, now.
They do not.
Some of them have the luxury, it's
yes,
also
now.
That thing you said about depending on where you live, your generation, because for millennial, you understand that if you leave the job, there's no salary for you at the end of the month, right? So I don't have the luxury to not get another job first, because that means there's no money that's coming. They're probably maybe they're probably in their own house. How would they pay for rent? Or they're probably saving for rent for the next year, right? How would they pay for it? So they would rather persevere, take all the toxicity and all of that, right? Because maybe they don't have the luxury. But some of these Gen Zs have the luxury. Some of them are born into wealth. Some of them know that there's internet. Some of them are brilliant as fuck. So it's just if you are doing rubbish, I know my skill, I know what I have. I will just like move on to the next stage.
That's why I made that point earlier that like they grew up with the internet, because I'm a millennial, and while I also like I'm very familiar with the internet. No.
Of course not.
Are you mad?
Boomers come before Gen
mad?
X.
What the hell is wrong
Gen
with you?
Are they wine now?
Oh, rude.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Are they
Oh,
wine
rude.
now?
It's just my
You're
knees.
not old.
My
You
knees
may have
complain every
boomer
now and
knees,
then.
though.
That's
I thought
all.
you were old now. Like you look
You may
old
have
and all of
boomer
that.
knees.
Oh, serious?
Yeah, and
But-
back.
I'm back.
Okay,
Fuck
no,
off.
back is millennials zone. They
Fuck
cross.
off. Okay.
And yet, fair photo.
You are mad.
Rude.
I'm very, very mad. Shall people see what I'll be enjoying on this podcast for you? This woman will just
And
be.
yet, it bend. Sorry,
Anyway, Sha.
go on.
So millennials, yeah. So I was saying that like while I'm very familiar with the internet and like I understand like the portability of it and like just how the kind of opportunities it can give. The earliest part of my life, like the first 15, 18 years of my life was without the internet.
Yeah.
Right. So I still kind of connect to the boomers and the Gen X in that way, in the sense that like security in that sense still matters a lot
Yeah,
to
it
someone
does.
like me, because I grew up in a time when the world was not here. It was not like right up on my face. You get? I could not just play music when I wanted it or like watch
You
a
have
show.
to like
when I-
buy. You have to
Listen,
buy CDs and things.
everything
Oh
was
my
a
God.
process.
Palito.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like everything.
Palito
right now.
Like radio,
Like,
you have to. Oh my god.
Everything was like everything required 2, 3, 4, 5 steps to get to it, right? As opposed to, the Gen Zs where they grew up where it's like one step, one click, 2 clicks away. Do you get what I'm saying? Like information, whatever
It's
you need.
like at your fingertips.
You get.
Fingertip.
We say that like a lot of them are like extremely brilliant and like just the way their mind and brains work. Like we are like, wow, goddamn. But a lot of that is also like the kind of access to information that they have.
Had.
Do you understand? Like, and even all these things that we're even saying, we and Gen Z, millennial, we are talking about people that went to school and people that maybe they're able to buy smartphones.
I mean, yes, we are
And
keeping.
all
Let's
this
just
other
keep our
things.
conversation because if
Because
you go outside of
if
that,
you go outside of that bubble,
that is a total
it's a whole other world.
Very
because,
different.
like, if you work in a financial services firm, right? The kind of people that would apply for a job in financial services, they are educated to a certain level.
Of course.
They are. And if we're talking about these fallbacks or these downsides of the Nigerian workplace as it is, and we are still talking about all these terrible and all these fuck-ups and people not putting subjects in emails to their CV and all these things, right? For people that are
those are
educated,
millennials,
right? Those are people that are educated to a certain level. Those are the ones that are like somewhat educated or whatever. Sure, you get. And we still have all these issues and all these challenges as far as even from the employee side in terms of what you go through. Like if you work at somewhere that they don't have HR, for example, or if the HR is not as open-minded as Adebola, for example, or like not.
I know
they
for
don't
a
see
fact
their
that there are
work
not
as-
a lot of open-minded
You get.
HR
They don't see
because
their-
I have
I have
encountered
an
a lot.
experience
If they don't see their work as dynamic as
to
you see
even
it,
say,
for
about
example, right? And then we've also heard from like the HR side of things as well, like from that side looking out, right? And like what the talent pool is saying. And there are all these issues. But what if we now, I know we can't because we don't have that context, but what if we now go outside that group to like the people that is just one man, maybe it's one lawyer, maybe he's doing charge and bail. And just he's able to collect one office in Yaba. And he has like 4 staff. Like, what does their human resource look like?
It's
You get what I'm
non-existent.
saying? Like, it's probably way worse for like those kind of people. And
Yes,
that
it
just
is.
speaks to, I guess, one of the
What's
many
the
problems
example
that
you
we
wanted
have in
to give?
Nigeria.
Okay. So recently, first off, let me put out a disclaimer. My views does not represent that of my employer. And everything that I say here today
Is
In true
very-
HR fashion.
Yeah.
is hypothetical.
Views are
what I want to
solely
say
mine.
right now is hypothetical. So let's say that I applied to a job. Let's say that I got invited for an interview. And it was on a Friday that they scheduled the interview for. And let's say that I attended. I was wearing a jumpsuit, a sleeveless jumpsuit. I had my natural hair in a twist. I had one cornrow on one of the twists in front that served as a bang. And I was, on the interview, and I felt that it was a good interview. I know how to conduct interviews, right? So naturally, I know what to say and what not to say.
Right.
So it was going pretty well. And then this middle-aged woman that was interviewing me mentioned that she expected that I would, be more appropriately dressed for the interview, disregarding all of the, the discussion we've had before that. And it didn't sit right with me. I understand that you need to, be a certain way when you're attending interviews. But to say that for a job where it was even a red flag, because it was supposed to happen on a Thursday at 4. I was on that meeting at 3:55. No one joined the meeting room. I was there until 4:30. Nobody came. And then you rescheduled. I was appropriately dressed for the interview. And then you called me on Friday out of the blue. No apologies whatsoever to reschedule. And I said, okay, I can make it at 12. And then we set the interview for 12. And I attend, looking how I am on a Friday is relaxed. Nobody expects you to wear a blazer to work on a Friday. And then you're commenting on that regarding all of the, enjoyable discussions
and even forgetting the fact that you had already joined earlier.
Do you understand? I just completely
What if you wore the blazer on Thursday? What if you wore the blazer on Thursday?
That's it now. Like, it's the audacity.
And then she now went ahead to say, oh, she doesn't mean it any type of way. In my head, I was like, of course you mean it.
For you to say
that type of way. For you to say it out. I know you obviously you mean it. And that was it in my head. They got back to me. I just responded to their email. I was like, it's not what I want at this time.
Come on.
I'll be in touch.
I love it.
It's a red flag.
Do you know what? Like that leads us that's a great segue into, like, I guess, what some tips and tricks that we can.
Yeah, I mean, she even mentioned that, as an HR
people.
professional, she already knows what to do and what to say. So, like, what are some of the things that you've learned, or some of the tips and tricks?
Start from where you even dropping your application to start with.
Okay, so to start with, when you see a job advert, wherever, LinkedIn, most especially, try as much as possible to go through the specifications. You cannot have experience in sales and be applying
for an accounting job.
It doesn't make any sense, please.
Like, know what your skill
exactly know what your skill set is or are. Look at usually there's a job description that is attached to the advert. Take your time to go through it. If you feel that you can't do the job, apply. So you attach your CV, and then you don't even have to say a lot in the body of the email. Dear hiring manager is enough. Hiring manager, whether it's male or female, it's it's a general term. Dear hiring manager, please find attached my CV for the advertised role. Yeah, my skills. If it's a job that doesn't require you to have experience, just highlight your skills. Interpersonal skills, communication. You can perform. Under pressure, which most people can't, but
everybody.
We all can.
I can perform under pressure, but 12 a.m.
Diamond. Try as much as possible,
perform under pressure in the mud
to stay true to what your skills or what your experiences are. And then just close it by saying, I would, appreciate if my CV is considered and I'm, scheduled for an interview at the earliest, possible time. Yours sincerely. That's all. And then in the subject, application for XYZ, and then send it. And and maybe if it's there's some emails that you send to that it's a do not reply this email. If it's not, you can follow up maybe after a week and say just following up on this.
I love this thing you said, because a friend of mine, I always have friends that
right.
An acquaintance of mine who also works in HR gave me that tip like very long time ago, and that was actually one of the reasons why I got my third job in PR, because like the CEO actually mentioned it, that one of the reasons why, because she was telling each and everybody that she employed, why they employed everybody, right? Oh, you because you have this, you because you have that. And she was like, me, It was just like my constant follow-up. Like
Yes.
after we had the interview, I sent an email. It was nice speaking to you. Hoping to hear
Exactly.
from you. Then I didn't hear back.
Most
like,
people don't do that.
a couple of days. Then I reached out. Oh, I just want to know if, is there anything that, like, I just kept following up. And then she kept like, it was just like a recall for her, this person. And she also spoke well in the interview. Okay. I didn't have the skill, obviously, because I'd not done PR before, but I had like some other transferable skills from my advertising that I could bring in. But then she mentioned that as one of the key things that people don't usually do that. So it's very important that you mentioned that. I was like, that's a very good trick. People don't,
Right.
they don't understand the importance
Following
of
up.
doing that.
But over.
All right, so just moving on with what I was saying. When you do get scheduled for an interview,
Right.
try as much as possible to get there in time. So when I say in
How-
time,
okay.
that's before the
So
scheduled
like 10
time.
minutes before.
At most, at
5
least
minutes.
5 minutes before, so that you can even have time, to
You got
gather
your
yourself,
Uzas.
Relax,
Make
get
sure you're-
familiar
if
with
it's a
the
virtual
environment.
interview,
If it's a virtual interview,
your lighting is
understand
right.
that your lighting is
Your
right.
internet is working.
Right, they can hear you and you can hear them, and you don't have internet issues. And then after the interview, if it goes well, try to follow up and say you enjoyed speaking with them. You would also try, you would also want them to tell you how the
Feedback. Ask for
on
feedback.
ask for feedback or what you can do better. I feel like that stamps you on the mind of your interviewer or your interviewers. If it's a panel interview, they just remember, because not everybody does it. So when a candidate does it,
They can remember
sticks out.
that,
it just sticks out.
this
Do you
person,
understand?
she's one that said this. He's one that said
Exactly.
that.
Right. And then you as the HR professional, try as much as possible to get in touch with the interviewee at most, say maybe 48 hours after the interview, so that they're not on edge, wondering, did it go well, did it not go well, so that they can have closure and move on if it didn't go well. Exactly.
Nice trips and takes there.
Nice what?
Nice tips.
Nice what? I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Nice what now?
Nice trip.
Nice.
Nice
Again.
Nice tips
I
and
mean, you know what to do. Bami chassis.
nice tips
Wonderful.
and
Sorry.
tricks. Very important. Very important tips. and
Motin
tricks.
will pay. We might not get. We might not get something this episode.
Important.
But
look at
not
that.
disappoint.
Before we move on
Campaign.
from, I want to ask, like, what would you say is your number one coping mechanism as an HR professional in Nigeria?
That's a
Considering
big question.
everything that you've talked about, the people, even, you
Coping
guys-
mechanism to stay sane.
Yes, like, just to get the job done, I guess.
Okay, I'll say that my coping mechanism would be the thought that I would leave work and just go and exist in my space all by myself until the next day
day.
when I have to, be at work. The thought that I'm going back home, because I stay by myself, that I'm going back home, to no husband or to no kid at the moment. Just that bliss.
Marry people in the mud.
Just that bliss is enough for me, to be honest.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
Just that
Fab.
rest.
Joe, you, what is your own coping mechanism?
Music.
Oh, actually, no, not okay, music. What tip or trick do you have?
All right. Yeah, my coping mechanism is music, tips and tricks. I think if you can, always try to secure the next job before you leave the current one.
Very important.
Always try.
Very important.
And please do this as ethically as possible. Like, don't go and be telling people in the interview that you want to keep you want to keep 2 jobs.
Please do not do that.
Please don't do
even
that,
if you are
alright?
going to do that, I mean, we know a lot
Do
of
not
people
say
that
it
do
out
side
loud.
gigs and all of that.
Yeah, people have
Don't
to
say it
jobs,
out
but like,
loud.
not that you go and tell the people that are interviewing you. Like, that's crazy. I also say, like, this thing comes up a lot. Like, I only started to like take it serious like when I first started to manage people, and it's just that, like, always try to put your best foot forward. To be honest, like the thing about emails that I see people attaching their CVs is like that's not your best foot. You get, like, that's not the, like, imagine that
It's
you're sending
not.
this to Bill fucking Gates. Do you
Yeah.
understand? Like,
Right.
assuming you are sending it to the most important, you're sending it to the president.
You're not going to do that.
Do
You
you
won't say
get-
PFA.
Act
That
like,
thing annoys me.
act like,
What is PFA?
act like this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like, act like every opportunity is a once in a lifetime and you're never gonna get it again. So try to put your best foot
Right.
forward. In us, when you're applying, when you're sending your application, there are so many jobs that like one me. And like maybe I could have applied for it, but maybe like in that time, maybe I just was not in the headspace to like write a decent open letter, or like the one I wrote, maybe it was just like really crap, or like, and I just move on because like I'd rather not apply for the job. And like there are so many things that already disqualify me out the gate. Do you get what I'm saying? I want to put my best foot forward. Sure, you guess. I think
All right.
people should always try to put their best when you're applying, when you're going for your interview, you know, and let's start leaving all these old school ideas of, oh, we must stay at one place for so time. Like, guy, if it's 2 months, if it's 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, I'm out of time. Once it's not working for you and it's a better opportunity, move my nigga.
Move on.
Because the company will always optimize for itself.
Yeah.
For its own bottom lines.
Yeah.
Always.
For my
all
own
the time.
tip and trick, right?
That day I finished.
Oh, sorry.
So rush me.
Yes,
More like
we
it.
need to get going.
More like it.
We need to
Okay,
get
Maya
going.
Gaza.
Yeah, you don't to talk. Even the HR professional know to talk. I say,
Nah, you sabi.
Tiva, you don't to talk.
Ẹjọ́ ló fẹ́ rò ó kí ló fẹ́ tá máa gbé.
Allow
But
him,
no, but
allow
very quickly,
him,
just
allow
it's
him.
also like everything you said, but I also
Yeah.
just wanted to add a couple of things that, you know, again from personal experience as well, right? Just understand that like at the end of the day, if you say you know something, like, and if you are skilled enough, be confident enough to put your best foot forward. Because I've also
Right.
been in a situation where I've interviewed people, right? So I had a team and I had to like hire people.
Right.
And it was always just interesting that like I just had to like probe in interviews, like to get like are you
Interviews,
scared of
just
saying,
to point out something in what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Interviews are not the place to be modest.
do you understand?
I
Like,
take
brand.
God beg you. Do not be modest at interviews. Tell
your shit.
us all your
What you
fucking
did.
achievements, everything. We want to hear it. All right. Do not let us probe into it. Just like Jemima said, you know, to be. I've
It's
had
so crazy.
too many experiences.
Like you know, say,
on
okay,
this
so what did you,
subject.
okay, so I'm like, I'm just gonna say, oh, I led this campaign, I created the content,
Let us know.
I gathered XYZ.
You know, when we say
I
tell us
executed
about
like this.
yourself and you know your previous experiences and how they relate to
To-
this role that you're applying for, that is what we want to hear. I want to hear how you did XYZ or how you led your team to like success and how you made 1 billion for your company. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Very
Right? Don't
soon.
tell me where you were born, whether you were born in Mushi
Very-
local government. I
Very
don't
soon,
care,
I'm going
to be
to,
honest.
very soon, I'm going to drop masterclass. Okay, if you
Oh,
if you want to know how to brag in your interviews, because that's my modus
That's your-
operandi. I'm gonna be up there talking my
Yeah,
shit.
because it's important.
And
like,
also
like, I
find
need
ways,
to-
whatever
that.
question you're asked, find a way to insert your achievements inside. There are ways to do it. Find a way to direct.
what are some
I
of
should
you?
not
Give
be
me
saying
like a
this,
one-liner.
right? Find a way to direct the interview to your strengths. Right? Don't let them focus on your weaknesses. Try as much as possible to do that because we interviewers, as much as we're trying to know what you can, you know, bring, we also want to know, you know, what weaknesses you have to see if we can take it or if we cannot.
It's
So
like
don't dwell on
relationship.
it. Right? Don't dwell on it. If you have shitty time management, we don't want to know that. Right? Focus on what you were able to achieve, even with that shitty time management that you have.
Right. So kind of like, oh, so I typically spend like 5 hours carrying out the task, but at the end of the day,
You know,
I was
this
able
was
to-
what
You
I
came
was able
back
to
without
Make
no
meet
the
the
help the
timeline.
company earn 1 billion
XYZ.
naira.
exactly.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
So even in your weakness, you are able to, you know,
To
achieve
identify
something.
strength.
Yeah. And also
Fantastic.
leave toxic environment. Like if it's not working, like Akindare said, just
Leave.
get out.
Yes,
Like,
please.
I mean, I know you want
I
to
think
wait till
maybe
you have
for
another
the people
job.
come back again
For
to
the
talk
people-
about toxic work environments. Because
We
I
need
have
to.
stories
It's a
for
lot.
days.
For the people that can afford to,
Yeah,
because
obviously.
I just want to put that, because like, yeah, you know,
It's not everybody that has a lot
I think
right now.
a lot of us are fortunate that we can, you know, make that kind of move. But like most people, we are between prayer and the spirit. We pray that better opportunities come your way.
Right.
Let's wrap this up. Have you ever left a job without having another place to go? Direct.
Yes, so
You are.
I did though.
Don't say. We don't want to hear the story. Have you ever?
I have never.
Ojuri.
I have never too.
Every me fair boy.
I have never.
Jehovah. Hey, I was like, who say me make I go resign? I'm going to wallow in poverty.
Right.
That must have been so scary.
Yo, the fucked up thing was like it was at the start of the pandemic, so like that made it like hella worse. Like the thing is, usually I'm like,
the
guys,
pandemic probably.
usually like, I'm like you guys, right? Like I'm always trying to lock down the next one before, but like this one, I didn't like it. Nothing was like over the line, but I had done a bunch of interviews and everything looked. I had gotten to like stage 4 or something. So I'm like, this is just final step that is remaining, so I
There's
can
no
resign. The corona she did
Corona
it was rough. It was rough. But yeah, let's go to recommendations.
Right. Yes.
My recommendation for you people is all or nothing. That's not I watched on Amazon Prime. Okay,
I don't have Amazon
No,
Prime.
as an Arsenal fan, which this is the first time I'm admitting this in public, like I think this year. Because club
Arsenal also shaggy.
Futury.
So,
But I saw that about Arsenal's last season and like the coach and the players and like it was very good to learn about some of the workings behind the scenes.
I
of,
love
like,
me some Mateta.
Football. You know, what
Is he
happens in
married?
football
Oh, yeah,
and
he's
stuff.
married. I saw it.
His wife
He has
was
kids.
18 now.
Yeah.
Nigerian, Yoruba women.
I'm just saying.
Yoruba
sorry.
people are dangerous. You are dangerous.
Well,
but yeah, that's
I
my
just
recommendation.
have one final thing to say
Okay.
to all unemployed graduates out there. You do not need, get rid of that mentality where people say, oh, you need to know someone to get a job. Since I started my professional career, right, up until now, all the jobs that I have had,
And
I
that you have
did not
given.
know anybody to get it.
I think that used to be a thing of the past.
You are just develop your skill yourself, upskill yourself, read. There's no information that is. I've been on an interview where we were discussing, random things just outside of why I was there. It's also part of it. Try as much as possible to read as much as you can.
Step your game up.
Step up your game.
I wonder quick question. Did you say that you don't need to know somebody thing because like in your experience you've also had situation where maybe people are applying and like they're trying to sort of make you the person that they know so that they can get the job?
Yes, I have. Where people would apply for a job, right? Look up my name and then send me a message on LinkedIn and then try to start getting,
Familiar.
and familiar. It's not going to do anything. I also like that since I started HR, I've had the independence to, hire the right fit for the job. I'm thankful that I've had employers that trusted, my judgment. Even if they refer a candidate, they leave the decision, up to me. And I'm thankful for that. So that's why I say that you don't need to know anyone, right?
Just do your own. Get
thing.
your skills.
Put your best
set
foot forward,
up.
and
man.
keep your fingers crossed.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay.
That's
That's
very
a good
good
way
because even myself when I'm referring people or I'm recommending people, it's not in my hand though.
Exactly.
THR,
Just let
they
them
don't
know.
need it.
If they
It's
say
not, I have nothing. Don't come and be thinking I'm your plug.
Able to manage that.
Please, dear. Okay,
Yeah.
what's your
All right.
recommendation, Jemima?
Bibi Naija.
Oh my God.
Fucking hell. Like even Ayomide concept is exasperated.
I don't understand. So
Nonsense.
are you people talking down on what
No,
I'm
we're
like?
not.
I don't get. So
We're
because
not, but
are you
do
bigger
your
than
thing.
me?
No.
Are you bigger than me because I'm talking
Not
about
at
Bibi
all.
Naija?
Bibi
Not
Naija
at all.
already has enough.
Are you
publicity,
bigger than
right?
me?
They have
You're
enough
already
balls
choking
in
And
on
you know
Bibi
what it is?
Naija.
I
We
just said
heard.
it because I was trying to get this reaction. You did not. All of you did not disappoint.
But
It's
the
very
reason why is
terrible.
because
It's very terrible.
the reason
We're
is because we are
sorry.
fed
Anyways,
up.
my
Alright?
recommendation.
People are everywhere on the billboard during football, every time in the house, or if you go to salon anywhere now, it's Bibi Naija that's playing on the fucking
My
TV.
recommendation
on social
is
media,
that-
on Twitter, on Instagram, everywhere. Bibi Naija. I just sing.
My recommendation is that just to tie into all of these things we're talking about, work, HR, and everything is also like in the workplace, right? Just learn when to press pause.
Yes.
A lot of times
Choose
people
your
are very
battles.
we're very we want to like do everything. We want to like just keep going and keep going and keep going, and everything just get jumbled up in your head, and you just start thinking, oh, this is not working. But learn how to take breaks, learn how to take pause, press pause, and just enjoy yourself at your job and what you do.
One leave.
Thanks everyone.
One leave and you suddenly become Guru Maharaj.
Motivational
Press pause.
Because
give it up though.
It's very important. It's very important.
You don't get it for yes.
It's very
important.
important.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah, so yeah.
Important. Okay. Thank you guys so much for joining us on the show.
This was such a
for
great
listening.
episode.
Honestly, yes.
And to think that we
Adebola is a
want to
vibe.
It
record
was
this
fun being here.
Yes. Thank you so
It's
much.
my first podcast, by the way.
Yeah. We are always
You're no more a
saying that.
podcast virgin. Look at that.
No, I am not.
Wow.
I
Look
have
at
been
that.
deflowered.
What is that?
What?
Why
Clean
do you
your
have to
mind.
use that?
Clean your mind. You see that?
Why do you have to use that?
Jemima, your mind is a little gutter.
But welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much
Thank
for joining
you.
us, Adebola. We had fun having you. It was a great episode.
I had fun
As
too.
always, you guys, as I've been saying past couple of episodes, make sure you follow me on Twitter.
Help his life.
Yes,
Help
I
his
lost my
ministry.
old account. Help ministry me, okay? Thank you very much for listening to us today.
Thanks,
for joining
everyone.
us. Remember, do you have any HR stories you want to share with us? Do you want to ask Adebola any questions? We can get them across to her. Or do you have anything you want us to talk about, you want us to chat about on the show? Feel free to send us a message. Send us an email at theshrinepodcast@gmail.com, or send us a DM on Twitter at theshrinepod, or on IG at
.pod.
Thank you so much for rocking
Thank
with
you,
us.
everyone.
We love y'all. Peace out.
Adios.